King's Custom Garage. In this video, I'm going to continue on doing some more metal work, rust repair. I'm going to try to get the majority of it finished up, except for maybe like the lower door areas. I want to try to get it to where we can go ahead and start covering up all the weld seams. I've got some, it's like Bondo glass, fiber Bondo or body filler with fiberglass in it. I want to start getting all the weld seams covered. Just so we can get everything coated in something and prevent any surface rust or anything like that. Okay, in this one, I'm going to continue on doing some metal work. I know everybody's probably tired of seeing rust repair and cutting out the old and replacing the new, but it's part of it. We got to get it done. I did go ahead, I've filled up this fuel neck hole. We've got to do the one on the driver's side. The reason I went ahead and done this one, and also I found somebody had went in here and filled this from the inside. I didn't even know this was here. I was messing with this and I seen a big glob on the inside, and I pulled all this off, and it looks like, I don't know what they used as the filler itself, but it's got like some screen almost off of like a window from your house, window screen off in it. But I pulled all that off, so we'll have to fill that. Maybe somebody had an antenna on it, like a CB antenna or something at one time, I don't know. But I went ahead and done that one because I had got a big roll of wire for this little welder and it wouldn't fit, so I made a little spool hanger off the back so I could use these bigger rolls, and I just wanted to see how it worked, make sure it rolled fine and you know, everything worked. It done great, but that's why I went ahead and done that. I just wanted to test that on the welder. But we've still got to do that same filler neck hole over here on the driver's side. Now I don't know that this truck came with two fuel necks, one on each side from the factory. It may have, but this hole looks really rough. I cleaned up this one when I cleaned up the other one, and I also went around and cleaned up a bunch more of the welds. I done some more grinding on this front lip area around the windshield and all that. But like I said, I want to try to get, for the most part, I'm probably going to end up ordering bottom sections for the doors just so I know they're done right. And then I'm debating whether I want to go ahead and address the front cowl section again where the curvature wasn't right for the fender, or if I want to wait until the doors are done and then I can use them for reference to do that section also. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do there yet. But I'd like, for the most part, I'd like to go around the truck, get the rest of what needs to be repaired or cut out or filled, go ahead and get the rest of that done. I may even come in and weld up these old mirror mounting holes on the doors. I'm not going to use those style mirrors. I think did the passenger side have the same? Yeah, passenger side had the same 4 holes. So I may clean this off, clean up around them, may weld them up. I may grind down these seams on the driver's side and the passenger side. I may weld those up. I'm still trying to decide if I'm going to use the factory location for the antenna or if I'm going to shave that. I'm not sure yet. But it's probably going to end up being quite a bit of smaller stuff that'll get tackled in this video. I may even try to weld up a bunch of these holes in the bed. There's quite a few on both sides. And then if we can get all that took care of, I'm going to start coating all of the weld seams. I'm probably going to do something like some Bondo glass or something like that over all the weld seams, and then we'll get that all sanded down and smoothed out, and we'll come back over all of that with a thin coat of bond, or body filler or whatever, to fill any imperfections or pinholes or anything, and start getting some of this raw bare metal covered back up and took care of. I think for now I'm gonna attempt to try to match patina it as best as I can, just because I don't want to go so far extent wise to do all the body work right now for a nice perfect, semi-perfect, as close to it as we could get it paint job. I like the ratty look. I think that's what I'm going to try to stay with anyways. But I don't know how difficult it's going to be to try to match this up. I'm not really worried about the fenders, but everything else might be a little headache. And we'll change some stuff as we go. I don't think I'm going to leave the grill patina. I'm probably going to clean it up. We still need to get some new headlight buckets and stuff like that, and change those out. But so in this one, we're going to continue on the metal work, get some more of it took care of and knocked out. I even went around and I reground this real good. It had started to build up a little bit of surface rust. I had pushed it out of the garage for a day or so, and it got rained on a little bit. So I've went around and hit all of the bare metal back down, and if there was some surface rust on it, I went ahead and got all the surface rust off of it. But probably gonna go ahead and maybe go ahead and do this one, being that I just done that one on that side. What I did on it is a section of this that I'd cut out that had this roll here. I just cut a piece of it out, and that's what I used. It already had somewhat, this top starts rolling in. So I started at the bottom and worked up, and then I had to work this top area in a little bit, just because that's where the body starts rolling back in as it comes up toward the top of the cab. And then maybe after we get that one filled and shaved, we'll cut this out and we'll replace this. Probably what I'm going to do here is just cut a little square out. Maybe do a button cut or something like that, or a cut and butt, just because I don't want to try to cut out a hole that small and then have to weld these up. I almost feel it'd just be a lot easier and quicker to cut out a little square and replace that whole little section. And I'll do the same thing. I'll use some of what I had down here. I had cut enough when I done this one. I think I have enough to do that hole over there and do this also. So I just need to line it up on the driver's side and make sure there's enough of that same curvature for that hole. This side I've got a piece laid to the side to do it with. Oh, and I also did, whenever I was working on grinding the seams and all that, I went ahead and cut this body lip here back out, pulled it back away, and got it back as close to like factory as I could. It's a little wonky right here in this seam, but once we do a little bit of filler, it'll smooth it out and it'll be fine. But I like the way it turned out. It looks great. But yeah, I think that's what we're going to do in this one. Honestly, I'm getting tired of doing metal work, but we've got to continue on and get it knocked out and finished up. Either way we go, I don't want a bunch of, like I said, I'm not going to get all the rust out of the truck, obviously, but the most part of it and the worst, and what we can take care of, we're going to take care of. We're getting close to having it all. The doors and rocker area is the worst part left, besides the floor. But like I've said in previous videos, I don't know how much of the floor was actually rusted. They had cut the floor and started getting ready to channel it for a body drop. So the floor may have not been that bad. It may have just been cut out, but I have started getting a little bit of metal together to start on the floor. As far as like what I'm going to use to do my bracing and all that, I've started getting a little bit. But I'm hoping I can get a bead roller before we start on the floor. That's my whole goal, is to just go ahead and get a bead roller before we start on the floor. I know I could do it without it, but it's going to be a headache, and I'd just as soon not have a bunch of extra time in welding or whatever the case may be, wasted time trying to get stuff made or however, and it just not working. So I am going to try and get a bead roller here in the next little bit. It won't be nothing nice or big or anything like that. It'll probably be a Harbor Freight special, but as long as it gets the job done, that's all I'm worried about. So I'll probably go ahead. We'll get you set up on the camera or on the tripod, and I'll maybe start getting that piece cut out to fill that fuel neck hole on the driver's side.
Hey kid, don't ever let them get inside your head. They'll tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you could get. Don't let them guide your life towards regret. I'll fight for what I love with every breath. My past is filled with things I won't forget. I use them all to push me to my best. So treat the worst of times just like a test. If only I could go back in time, I'd tell myself that everything will end up alright. Just push yourself, test yourself, figure out what you like, and find your limits, don't be rigid, always work towards a prime. Surround yourself with open minds, people can change your life. A few friends with intent can help you feel alive. Find a passion, take some action, and with a little time, just be patient, make a statement, try to enjoy your life. They'll try to kick you while you're down. They wanna rise up while you drown. They wanna fill your head with doubt. They're silently scared that you'll figure it out. I'll make it look like I'm losing, won't bother hiding my bruises. And when they finally think you're wounded, then it's your chance to be ruthless. They don't wanna see me care. Anytime I make some progress, I can see that they compare. I think everyone's against me, maybe something in the air. Am I paranoid? I swear a void is forming and they're scared I walk a straight path. Not many can say that. I like to play fast, cross me and there's payback. You better pray that I don't see your face at any place that I go. I know you hate that. I've been doing fine, I'm not wasting any more time. I live for the fight and the climb, and I think that the pain that's deep inside is what defines. So I won't give up, I'm gonna make it to the top. I don't care what's in my way, I swear I'm never gonna stop. I could fall flat on my face and I swear I won't give back up, cause I don't deserve a thing and the road ahead is tough. They'll try to kick you while you're down. They wanna rise up while you drown. They wanna fill your head with doubt. They're silently scared that you'll figure it out. I'll make it look like I'm losing, won't bother hiding my bruises. And when they finally think you're wounded, then it's your chance to be ruthless. retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Yeah, we ran out of patience. Boil up with the cold hard hatred. I can feel the vibration. Feet in the streets, it's a new sensation. I wanna break faces on the pavement. I wanna make greatness look complacent. Adrenaline awakened, I can taste it. We can make an impact, grab and then take it. Like a disease, bring them to their knees. No pain for their disease. Breathe just like a wind, spread into the streets. It's time to make them bleed. 'Cause we just want retribution. Let's go light up the darkness.
Okay, so I've pretty much gotten everything sanded that I coated with fiberglass. I need to still do both of these areas on both sides, but I'm going to wait, and when I pull the bed off, I've still got work that I need to do on that back wall. So once I finish up the fiberglass work and the metal work, that where it rolls under the back of the cab there for the frame, I need to do some work there, and then I'll fiberglass the rest of it and we can sand it all down. I know I still have quite a bit of metal work to do, in the sense of not everything that will get coated with fiberglass is coated right now. I just wanted to somewhat get a jump on it, so I wasn't waiting until I was pretty much completely done and then I was just overwhelmed with everything that had to be coated. So I figured the stuff that we could go ahead and coat that I knew was done and wasn't going to be really messed with anymore, I'd just go ahead and for the most part get it knocked out. It turned out really good. I'll come back over with some body filler. There might be a couple rough spots that needs a little bit more sanding, but I think it turned out pretty decent. And then I went ahead and ground these two spots up and welded them solid. So then my next go around of fiberglass, I'll do those, and I'm thinking I may go ahead and cut these two holes. Those would have been where the frame stuck out and the mount stuck out for the bumper. I don't think I'm going to run a front bumper, so I may go ahead and cut those out and shave those. I'm still not sure what I'm going to do, if I'm going to use this bumper splash shield or bumper valance, whatever you want to call it. I'm not sure if I'm still going to use it because it's in pretty rough shape. But I may go ahead and shave those just for time being, and it'll give the look that I'm wanting. If we end up not using it later down the road, oh well. And then I went ahead and sanded these two little areas that I done on the fenders. I think it turned out really, really good. Really good. We got this back section done. Got this done. And like I said, I haven't sanded that yet. I did sand that passenger side a little bit, but I figured it would be best. I can't sand it all right now anyway, so I'll have to wait until I get the bed off. I thought about going ahead and pulling the bed off in this video and going ahead and tackling the back wall. I'm not sure yet if I am or not. We might get to it. This may be a little bit of a long video just because I'm trying to get a bunch of small stuff done. So I'm not quite sure. But I wanted to go ahead and kind of fill you in, let you see where we've got, what we've gotten done, what we've gotten sanded down and cleaned up. And then I started doing a little bit more work on this hood yesterday. and that spot that was split right through here that I had to address, I done it. And then I got to know, I flipped the hood over and I got to noticing that there was a few dents, like there was a dent in this area right here. So I started trying to knock the dents out. Well, this whole entire area right here was about a 1/4 inch thick, or so, well, it was nothing but Bondo, and this side was the same in this whole area. So I ground all that down. I'm going to try to knock those dents out the best I can. That center body seam or body line, hood line, whatever you want to call it, that center seam right there needs a little work right in this about midways. I actually think at some point somebody stood on that hood, and that's where the dents come from, and it tried to crease that little body roll, body seam. So but I'm going to try to knock those out, and then it'll get a skim coat of body filler. And when I do body filler, I'll do it as thin as I possibly can and only use what I have to use. I'm not going to just slap it on there and make it look good. I'm going to try and do it as thin as possible with as least amount as body filler as I can. So I think it looks good. It's taking shape. Hopefully, I'm hoping within the next month maybe I'll have the panels, the replacement panels to do the bottoms of the doors. I really want to get those done because body wise, other than the floor, I'm not when I talk about metal work as it stands right now, I'm not really considering the floor in that, just because I really don't want to start on the floor until I have an engine and transmission. I don't want to have to work backwards and cut out more just because I didn't know, or whatever the case may be. So I really want to go ahead and get these doors done. And once I get the bottoms of the doors done, then I'm wanting to attack the cowl section again, being that it didn't come out right, the curvature's not right. So my plan was once I got the doors done, I would do these. That way I knew it was right this go around. I'm not going to follow the fender again, and I don't want to follow these doors because they're so rough. So hopefully, like I said, hopefully in a month or so, we'll have those in and we'll get those done. And then I'm also thinking about maybe cutting out the hinges for the doors and maybe suiciding the doors. I've always wanted to do it ever since I got the truck, and I've seen a few here recently, and it just makes me want to do it even more. But my thought is I would like to try, if at all possible, to still utilize the factory door handles, but and lock cylinder. So what I'm thinking is if I can figure out the hinges and get the hinges cut loose and moved to the back of the door, and then I can get the latch mechanism moved to the front of the door. And my thought is to take the passenger side handle, put it on the driver door, take the driver's side handle, put it on the passenger door, and instead of the handles being here at the back, they'll be up here, and you'll just open it like this. That's the reason I'm swapping the door handles from one side to the other, so the button will be toward the front. Just because I don't know why, I feel like that would work best. I don't know, may change my mind if I get that far on it. So not sure yet. That's kind of a thought on something that I want to do to it. And then yeah, I don't know. So I just figured I'd cut you on after I got done sanding and stuff, and show you that for the most part all that sanded down. I had went around and hit all the real rough spots before I even started filming, and then I put you on the tripod and cut it on, and I started actually sanding it down. But I think I'm going to call it a night, and then hopefully tomorrow I'm going to do some more, may mess with these. I need to mess with this back fender just a little bit. I think it needs to go up about a 1/2 inch, so I may drill some new holes for it and get it moved up where it needs to be. And then I want to finish up welding up all the holes in the bed. I've started, but I haven't welded them all up because I knew this fender needed to be moved. This is the whole reason it needs to be moved. You can see the gap between that filler panel, so we need to move it up enough to take that gap away for the most part, and it was like a 1/2 inch. So I may address that tomorrow. I'm not quite sure. So I'm gonna call it a night, and we'll see you guys in the morning.
I can hear the demons call when they do what they do, and now I feel like taking off, find a place with a view. The pain is never gonna stop if it's controlling you. I know that time can heal it all, I just gotta get through. I just gotta get through, I just gotta get through. Cause I feel like taking off, find a place with a view. The pain is never gonna stop if it's controlling you. I know that time can heal it all, I just gotta get through. Sometimes I feel like all is lost, but I know it's not true. I wanna put up all my walls cause I'm not in the mood, but then I cut myself off from the rest of the room. I know that time can heal it all if you're patient, and soon it can all be worth it, all the searching. Pain is never really permanent, but damn it hurts, man. I could feel all of the turbulence and it's concerning. I've been searching for a purpose, I hope it's worth it. This society is really trying me. Ain't no hide and seek, I hide to be far from anxiety. I need my space, I need my privacy. I need some silence, please, you're all too loud. You don't speak quietly, opinions violently thrown across every surface. It makes me nervous, is the world honestly burning? That's all I'm learning. Hope that we can make a turn and start reversing all our minds and put the work in. We got some work, man. I can hear the demons call when they do what they do, and now I feel like taking off, find a place with a view. The pain is never gonna stop if it's controlling you. I know that time can heal it all, I just gotta get through. I just gotta get through, I just gotta get through. Cause I feel like taking off, find a place with a view. The pain is never gonna stop if it's controlling you. I know that time can heal it all, I just gotta get through. I just gotta get through. Gotta get through this, life is a nuisance, tie up some loose ends. I try to be human, find a solution, my evolution. A place like this, it didn't exist, we made it like this. So you can go pick the bad or the good, got a glass half wish. I know, it's easier to hide than just to lay low. Not everyone in life has got a halo. I'm standing in the red inside a payphone, just wanna break, no. I'm not gonna give in, take a last shot, Michael J. Win. No, I'm not a robot, I'm in my own skin. Never get lost when thoughts pull you in. I miss the old you, we died with a purpose. All the energy around me felt nervous, scared I would pop out fast to the surface. Had to cut it off before you made me worthless. Torn apart, I've been torn and scarred. I had a given art, but now I'm thinking smart. I'm keeping up my guard, I'm hiding every card. A royal flush of bluff, you never know what's hard. With a back to the mat, gonna see where I'm at. I'ma fight like I'm mad, I'ma be something that they can never be me. Nice try, but they'll see I achieve everything while they stay salty. I started to go. I can hear the demons call when they do what they do, and now I feel like taking off, find a place with a view. The pain is never gonna stop if it's controlling you. I know that time can heal it all, I just gotta get through. I just gotta get through, I just gotta get through. Cause I feel like taking off, find a place with a view. The pain is never gonna stop if it's controlling you. I know that time can heal it all, I just gotta get through. I just gotta get through. in a sea of the dying and shameless, a sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it. And I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story. I'll make a decision if I want some peace or if I want the glory. Yeah, don't want a life that is complacent or possibly boring. I just want a life that is worth every day exploring. My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. 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 Yeah. To appreciate all that is vacant. It's just for the taking. If you make up your mind, you can take it. I'm never complacent. I would work in a mansion or basement. Yeah, there's no replacement for persistence. It's a patience. Yeah, in this life I wanna be soaring, to feel sun inside when it's pouring. And I'll fight till anxiety is foreign. I'm so sick of my mind's extortion. My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. 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 Yeah, I just wanna be great.
Okay, so we ended up, let's see, what all did we get done? So we got the two fuel neck holes, the one on the driver's side, one on the passenger side, shaved. Then I got them covered with fiberglass, sanded down, and I've already got a rough coat of Bondo plastic filler on this side and that side. And this was a hole, I believe it was an antenna or something that was covered up, and I didn't know it was there. But the reason that's kind of rough looking is my Bondo was trying to set up and dry, so I just wanted to go ahead and use what I had, a little bit I had left. So that's why it's kind of chunky looking. I'll sand it all down. If it's rough looking, I'll put another thin coat over it, or use some glazing putty on small spots if that's all it needs. And then we got the drip rail area fiberglassed, sanded down. I haven't got it bondoed yet, but I think it looks really good. And then we got these shaved and covered with fiberglass. I got the little brow areas that needed to be done. I'd already welded those up, but they needed to be coated in some fiberglass. And we got this side done, that, and all of the drip rail. We got all that done. I started messing with the hood again, but I haven't touched it since I ground all the Bondo that I found, which I knew some of it was there. It was cracked, like I said, but I didn't know the dents were as bad as they were. So I'm gonna work those dents out as best as I can. I'm gonna try to not take all the paint off of the hood, but if I end up having to, I will. I know the more paint I take off, the more bad I'm gonna reveal. But something that I wasn't gonna do and I ended up doing, I spent way too much time on this front bumper valance, front roll pan, splash shield, whatever you want to call it. I spent way too much time on it. I've probably got a full day just in shaving the holes from the bumper, from the frame rail sticking through for the bumper. I shaved the two areas under the headlights where the original turn signal lights would have mounted. We shaved those and got rid of those. And then I fiberglassed all my weld seams. I done a lot of just small issues that it had, rust spots here and there, pieces that was rusted out, cracks, splits. I just worked out, for the most part, anything that I could. I didn't go too crazy, but if it was something that needed to be replaced and it was kind of easy to replace, I replaced it. There is one of the supports on this side that's missing. I was gonna make one and I just didn't get to it. Like I said, I've got way more time in that thing than I wanted to, but I got it fiberglassed. I got it sanded down real good. I didn't film all the sanding and everything. It's kind of repetitive. And then I put a thin coat of Bondo and I went ahead and sealed it with some sealer, just to go ahead and kind of get it cleaned up. I've had the idea since the beginning to shave that and get rid of those holes for the bumper and all that. And the turn signal light mounting spots, or where they sit at, they were really, really bad, just really pitted and rusted. So if I didn't cut them out and shave them, they would have had to have been cut out and replaced anyways. And by that point, I probably would have just bought a whole new pan. And we still may. Like I said, I'm not sure. I may still, because I know this one is still rough. It's really rough. It looks a lot better, but it's still got quite a few imperfections. I need to go back and fill a few imperfections here and there if the camera would focus right. But it's a lot better than it was. So I'm happy with it for now. I think I'm leaning more toward the ratty build for now anyways, just because it's going to be easier. And then, like I said, later down the road, if we want to do a nice paint job, we'll do a little better body work and whatever. But for now, I think I'm going to stick with kind of more of a ratty build. But I think it's coming out nice. We've gotten a lot accomplished. I know it's been a couple weeks. I've just had a lot going on, and I got sick, and kids got sick, and I just haven't had the time or felt like getting out here and doing much. So, but I'm feeling better, and hopefully everything will be back on schedule like normal, and at least get a video a week or so out. I'm hoping real soon, like I said, I'm hoping to have these door sections in maybe within a month or so, depending on how shipping goes. But I want to get those done, and then once those are done, we'll readdress the lower cowl area and get those fixed. And then, other than the floor and the firewall, for the most part, the metal work's done. I mean, I know I've got to do as far body work, but as far as rust and all that, the doors, I believe, are, for the most part, oh, nope. I've got to do something. I've got to do something with these headlight bucket areas. They're really bad, and I don't even think I could get a headlight to mount in there. So I'm either going to buy new buckets and get those out and put new buckets in. And then if there's a little bit on the grill that needs to be fixed, we'll fix it, because that lower section here is flat on the bottom of that grill under that headlight for the turn signal. So I'd like to take and either continue it on round and take that flatness out of it or something. So we still got to address the grill and like the headlight buckets and stuff like that. And I may just try to find a new grill, or maybe new to the truck. I don't know about brand new. I know they're quite expensive. Trying to keep it on a budget and do it as budget friendly as I can. That's been the reason, for the most part, I haven't bought many replacement panels. I want to do it in the sense of somebody that don't have the money to go out and buy all these replacement panels and stuff like that. You know, that sheet of metal right there, I've got a local scrap yard, and I went and bought that sheet of sheet metal for like $12. So, I mean, you know, a little bit of sheet metal and a roll of welding wire, you can do quite a bit. You just gotta figure out what it'll take to fabricate your pieces. But yeah, I'm also hoping to get an engine and transmission soon. I've still been fighting with myself trying to figure out what I actually want to go with. I would really like to see the truck turboed. I think it would be kind of cool. I've seen them that's done, but I don't want to do the typical LS. I love LS. I've got one in my daily truck. It's been great, and I'd love to put an LS in it just for the reliability factor. But at the same time, it's been done, it's overdone. There's not a lot that hasn't been, but I've kind of had the idea, I don't know why, but I've kind of had the idea to either do like maybe a 4.3 and try to set it up as close to like a Cyclone or a Typhoon as I could. I know this isn't all-wheel drive, but at the same time, later down the road we could change that, or we might not even want it to be full-wheel drive, all-wheel drive. But the 4.3s are pretty reliable. I know it's not a V8, but they can pack a punch. And then I've also thought about like a 3.8 out of like a Buick, like the Grand National, and turbo it, or one of the 3.8s that, or the 3800s that were supercharged, they're actually more front wheel drive, but you can make a S10 transmission behind that and make it rear wheel drive. So I've been kind of throwing around ideas of something that would be a little different. If you guys got any ideas, I'm trying to keep it on a budget. I'd love to do a Coyote or you know, something like that, but it's just not feasible. I can't afford that much for an engine and transmission, but we'll get something figured out. I just want it to be a little more than just a put around truck. I'd like it to have a little bit of go behind it. I think it would be cool to take it out and maybe do hot rod power tour, or I don't know about sick week, but maybe sick week or something like that. Do a couple of these events. I think it would be awesome. I've also had the idea of doing my Plymouth Belvedere, the 58 Plymouth Belvedere. I've also had the idea of building it more of a ratty style and setting it up for like a drag style, or a street car or something like that. You don't see a lot of them, so it probably, a lot of the purists probably wouldn't like the fact that it would be ratty and rough around the edges, but I think that's the way I'm going to go, and I think that's the way I'm going to go with this too. So I think I'm going to call this a video. I know it don't seem like I got a lot accomplished, but I've got several days out here just sanding and fiberglassing and that I put way too much time into that. I know it looks good and it looks a lot better than it did, but for what a new one costs, which the ones that I found that were shaved like that, we're on back order right now, but I could have bought a new one and shaved the bumper holes anyways and not had all the headache of everything else to deal with. But it's fine. We got it looking decent, and if we don't like it later or it gives us any problems later, we'll deal with it later. I mean, you can see that bottom line, it kind of droops a little bit more in this area, and I think this body line roll right here, I don't think it's necessarily straight all the way across, but it's okay. There was a lot of dents, and it was tweaked and twisted and bowed and had quite a bit of Bondo in it. So, but yeah, I think I'm going to call this a video. Go ahead and get this one posted, and then I'm going to get started on the next one. Not quite sure what I'm going to do, but we're starting to hopefully get everything wound up and to a closing on metal and replacing, cutting out rust and fixing rust and all that good stuff. Oh, I did get this dent worked down a little bit right here. It's still here just a little bit, but I've had a heck of a time getting up that high. And then this right here is pushed in. So I don't know, I may have to get a slide hammer or something to try and get this out, or one of those the stud welders or whatever you want to call it. I don't know how to go about getting this out, so I'm not really concerned about it right now, but I would like for that to be as straight as I can. I'm not going to go with those same mirrors. I'm just going to do some smaller round mirrors. But yeah, so if anybody has an idea or suggestions on the engine, if you like any of the ideas that I listed, let me know. I'm open for options as long as it's kind of budget friendly. You know, it'd be nice to put a Godzilla in it, but I can't afford one of those either. But anyways, I'm going to call this video. I appreciate everybody watching. I appreciate everybody subscribing and commenting and liking and sharing or whatever. I really want to appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next one.